Hello and welcome to A Table for One. Thanks for joining your hosts Jeanette Aycock and Shanta Langford as we savor the single feast of life. And join us as we chat and share about the over 40 life experience. I find that men who are with builders are always ready to leave their marriages between the ages of 45 and 55 because the women have gotten too old for them and they want a young chick to make them feel young again because they're not done with life yet. They're still interested in having sex regularly. They want to ride around in a nice car and have fun again. But you're ready to sit down and watch Netflix and Lifetime because you're 45 years old, thinking that you're set for life, but you're not. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it makes a lot of assumptions about where a person is in their life at this point. And, I'm sure that's true of a number of people. But in ways, I think it can be rather simplistic.
Right.
I just think that it be a simplistic approach. But, what have you run into this species of male that you can say, yes, right on, sister, I agree with you?
I haven't even run into a species of male, so I don't know what you're talking. Maybe, maybe I have in the sense of men that I know in that age group who are married, who are feeling that way. Me, well, I will say when I was younger, more older men did approach me or show an interest. So maybe. I mean, I think when you use generalized statements like that it can be, that's when you get into dangerous territory.
Yes, I think it's sensational writing in terms of provocative writing.
Right. It's like that age group between 45, 55. I mean, it's that age-old middle-age crisis thing. And I wonder so much, is it really middle-age crisis, or is it that the older you get, the more you realize why am I living a life that I've never been happy with, and I'm getting older, so therefore, I want to experience the real life that I want.
Well, the other thing about this, as we discussed in part one of Bob the Builder, she's talking about how now she wants to settle down with Netflix, and she's saying, oh, he has changed, but obviously she has changed too.
Right, but I mean, well, also that's kind of like, not sexist, but all right, yeah, the woman just wants to sit at home with Netflix. Really? I mean, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of men who want to do that,
Exactly. And I think the other thing about it is she is saying that it's okay for one party to change, but it's not okay for the other one to change. I mean, you basically, if you're saying, well, now I just want to hang out and look at Netflix, you've changed the contract.
Well, but do you think it's changed the contract, or as you get older, you're what you decide that you want to do changes? But I found that statement a little judgmental.
Yes.
It's like, well, of course he's going to leave you, girl, because you just want to sit at home and watch Netflix. It's like, there's nothing wrong with wanting to watch Netflix.
Right.
Especially if y'all have sat at home before. See, here's the thing. If you two have always sat at home and watched Netflix, and then he changes and says, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. Right? Mm-hmm. He's the one who's changed the contract because they were fine for 10 years doing that. And now all of a sudden he wants to do something else. Or did he always want to do it? Or did he just do it to appease someone? What is the real reasons?
And a third thing I would say is, and what's wrong with growth? Because you've done something for 10 years, it's a good thing to grow and explore something new.
Right.
And it's great if you decide to do that together.
Right.
But if one person is adamantly saying, no, I just want to watch my Netflix, and why can't you just continue to watch Netflix? Well, I can see where there is going to be a little discord in the happy home. But I think to say, as you have just said, to just kind of make a generalization that, oh, he changed the rules of the road.
He wants a young chick. Well, you know what I'd say? Oh, by the time this movie is over, you'll be back. So I don't.
That's very true. That's very true.
Because trust and believe, honey, you're not going to be out past a certain point with the young chickie, not unless you're doing, some little white powder or something to keep you up.
Right.
So you'll be back. So,
And there's this fairy tale fantasy of things, happily ever after. We're just going to keep doing whatever it is we're doing until the end of time. And this fairy tale that the relationship is always going to proceed the way it has, or that I have met the person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. That may seem like heaven to one person. It can feel like an endless trap for somebody else, or purgatory for somebody else.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see, what's the dynamic in each of them? Is he leaving because it's a midlife crisis, or, maybe the crisis is the thought that my life is never going to be any bigger than it is right now, and my partner is okay with that, and I'm not.
Right. And, or, we've tolerated each other for this long a period, so can I tolerate this person anymore? Or, and unfortunately, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, because people don't make the necessary changes in the proper order, meaning having a conversation and then leaving. You don't decide to start having affairs or whatever without letting the person know, I'm about to end this contract, or can we renegotiate the contract? I mean, and that's the reason why we fall into these situations, because no one ever takes the proper steps into doing things the right way.
Yeah.
With more integrity than sneaking around or sitting there watching Netflix and not having a conversation. Not, instead of having a conversation, you just much rather watch television, knowing that there's a problem,
Right.
So next thing she says is, there are also many men who subscribe to using a woman as a financial plan. They use women to save up, build up their credit, pay off their student loans, build equity, get a nice car, and establish a career. They get them a nice roommate who makes more or equal income. All the while, she thinks you all are building a future and getting ready to grow old. The truth is that you're getting ready to grow old by yourself, while he goes and experiences his midlife crisis with a 25-year-old.
Well, once again, this certainly is one scenario that can be going on. But, what else I'm getting from her writing is a feeling of jadedness and a deliberateness about the man in the beginning. It feels like, from her standpoint, this is what he got into the relationship with partner number one for. It was very cold and calculating. This is my starter wife, and I'm going to mature and get the things that I need, and then I'll move on to my real life, or so I think.
Well, also, it gives an indication that women are not as smart and savvy. Who's to say a woman isn't doing that?
Mm-hmm. Or is it another way of looking at?
So he could be a Betty. He could be Betty the builder. Like,
right.
It's interesting to me that how do you know? And I mean, I granted, I understand the general gist of what she's saying, and there is a lot of truth to it. But also, I think sometimes we feel like, oh, that poor girl, you know, and it's like, well, maybe she knew. Maybe she knew, and maybe I know for a fact there are a lot of women out there who do the exact same thing.
Right.
So it's not
looking at it from the standpoint of
the male, but in the writing, you know, I get it. Where more often than not, it does happen. I think more to women than men, of course, but maybe I'm just a romantic, so because I tend to believe that not. This man here she's talking about, maybe he didn't start off that way. I'm just saying, maybe he didn't start off thinking that way. Maybe he started off thinking that they were really going to build something together. And through that, they kind of separated what they really wanted, you know, and how they wanted to live. Right. So, and maybe all of the materialistic things that they acquired over the years, maybe she thought more about that than about him.
That could very well be.
Right? And so, and maybe there is a sense that you're not appreciating me. You're appreciating what I give you, but you're not appreciating me. And I'm not saying, oh, it's always the woman's fault. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, looking at it from a different set of lens, that perhaps maybe that's the reason. Sometimes it's never just so simple as saying, oh, he's a midlife crisis and he's going to get him as a 25-year-old. I mean, in certain cases it is. In certain cases, yes, of course.
Yes.
But in also other cases too, it's the opposite. It's the woman who's doing that. But I'm saying from the other side of it, maybe it started off the way it was supposed to, and then it just, as they grew apart, their needs changed.
And it brings up a more global issue, is how do we feel about change at this point in our lives compared to when we were younger? I mean, are we those who hang on to the security of monotony or the security of predictability rather than go after what it is we want? I mean, do we kind of wish we were that male, if we're female, that's going out and going after the younger person if that's what you want, or buying the sports car? Are we afraid of taking a leap, or what do we fear will come after taking the leap?
Right. Well, I think that's a big reason why a lot of these people who are in these situations don't do the right thing in the beginning. Because if I have the safety net at home, I can go out and explore, right? And if it doesn't work out, I can go back home.
Yes.
Instead of sitting the person down saying, this is not working for me, I feel empty, I really, you know what I'm saying? And cutting ties and not knowing what's out there. Really jumping off the ledge, right? Without a safety net.
Definitely.
Not a lot of people can do that. Years ago, I had a coworker who, I noticed that he would always work late, right? And I knew he had 2 little kids. He was married. He had 2 little kids. And so one day I asked him, I said, why are you always here, so late? And he said, because I don't want to go home. And I said, oh my God. He goes, yeah, I sit here and I wait. I wait until I know she will probably be asleep. And, and I'll go home. So fast forward maybe 4 or 5 months after that conversation, I'd say. I noticed that he wasn't working late anymore. And so I said to him, I said, hey, what's going on? You're not working late anymore? What's happening? He goes, I left my wife. And I said, what? I said, isn't your wife pregnant for your 3rd baby? He goes, yes. He goes, but I left. And he goes, the reason why I left is my father-in-law had went to the doctor, and the doctor had said that he was morbidly obese, and the doctor had said, you have diabetes, and if you don't stop eating the way you do, you're going to complicate it and die, right? And his father-in-law said, what else do I have? And he said, in that moment, I saw myself. And that's what changed. And I left because I saw myself in him, and she's a lot like her mother. And I saw that was going to happen to me. And I thought, if this is all he has in his life, then what am I doing? And he said, it's something clicked. And I moved down the street, so I'm close to my kids, and I still see my kids and everything, but I had to get out. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was so interesting, because it's like a lot of times people don't leave, even if they're drowning, because of all the responsibilities around them, correct? So he could have very well said, well, she's pregnant, so I really can't leave. So I have to stay, right? Yes. But in his freedom, he found a way to still be there, but still get make the necessary steps he needed to make.
Yeah, you find a way.
Yes, so he's not neglecting his responsibilities by being there for his children, and and obviously being there for the birth, but the moment he made that leap and that decision that, you know what, I can't keep doing this because I see my future is not going to get any brighter. Mm-hmm. So I need to do something. And I just thought that was very interesting, that you never know where that click is going to come from or who it's going to come from. Because I thought it was so ironic. It came from his father-in-law. Yes. Just with a simple kind of like, a very matter of fact, what else have I got? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just I've always thought about that. And let me tell you something. From that moment, I've never seen a more happier person. He was again,
there's that dichotomy. Do you hold on to what you know because you know it, and it's still making you miserable, and all you're going to end up with is misery and resentment, or do you take that step and try to go after what you want? I mean, it could go right or it could go wrong. You've got a 50-50 chance either way. Right. But if you stay with what you've got, you have a 100% chance of getting no more than what you got.
Yep. Well, I guess our next episode, we will continue with Bob the Builder.
Who knew Bob had so many facets?
And clearly he has so many choices. So
yes.
So we will continue our quest to find the answers for the Bob the Builder woman.
Yes. I look forward to more of your insights. They're always thought-provoking, Shonda.
Yes. Now I'll just go and watch Netflix. So there you go. We hope you've enjoyed tonight's episode, and be sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and also check out our website at table4, spelled FOUR, and the number 1.com. There you'll find interesting articles, our episode calendar, product recommendations, and information on becoming a patron. Thanks for listening.